What's up with the YouTube? It's your boy Everyday Dre. And today, what we're going to be talking about is why I feel like being smart ain't the only thing that matters. So from my perspective, being smart is not the only thing that matters. Whenever you're trying to get a promotion on the job, what's one of the first things that you hear people tell you? It ain't about what you know, it's about who you know. So that quote or that statement alone throws how smart you are right out the window. I once had a job where I felt like I did everything the way I was supposed to do according to my training or the way that I was showed, right? And I had been there for quite a while, and I felt like not necessarily a promotion, but I feel like I was supposed to get a raise. And personally, I never got it. But I watched them bring in somebody else for the same position that I was doing, and they was getting paid $2 more than me. Now, I ain't gonna pull the race card. I ain't gonna say it was because they was this and because I was that. Now, what I will say is, it was simply because he had a relationship with somebody else at the job. They had built up whatever relationship through communicating or working with each other that I didn't build up. You know, I just came in to get a paycheck. So when it was time to learn how to do the job, I learned everything that I was supposed to learn and did everything that I was supposed to do. But yet, somebody could come in and swoop in and get something that I feel that I deserved or something that I feel like I worked for. Sometimes being the smartest person in the room just ain't what people want. Sometimes they want to know if you're a cultural fit or if you fit the vibe of the office, or maybe you get along with people more. Maybe the job ain't about being smart. Maybe the job is about communication. Because one thing I noticed about a lot of not just smart people, intelligent people, they lack communication skills to a degree, or they lack people skills. Like, some people feel like, yo, I told you something one time, you're supposed to get it that first time. Or they might feel like, I do my job so good, I don't got to communicate with you, I don't got to speak to you. And it builds up this like arrogance or this ego, you know what I'm saying? And I feel like as far as jobs are concerned, I mean, it's teamwork. You know, you can't have this arrogance, you can't have this ego because you know everything about the job. You know everything about the job, but you don't know everything about the people. You don't know how to talk to people when they come in. And the majority of jobs today are like 80% communication and 20% how to do the job. You got to understand, you could pretty much go in any job, not careers, some careers, but you could kind of go into any job and pretty much learn how to do it. So sometimes it's not about that. Like, I've seen people get fired just because they said the wrong thing, not because they were doing a bad job, just because they communicated negative emotions or negative feelings to higher ups or authorities. But yeah, I feel like that's one of the main things that intelligent and are really smart people, they lack communication. They don't know how to speak to people sometimes, just because they feel like they know it all, or that I'm so smart I don't got to speak to you. But yeah, that's number one. Number two, most really smart people, they lack, what's the word? Not lack. They just have a false sense of authority. They think because they know so much that somebody else doesn't know enough. And my thing is, if I've been here before and you haven't, what makes you think because you've read all of this in books or, hold on, let me turn this off, it's kind of loud. But if I've been here before in life or at this career or at this position, that because you just graduated college and you've never actually done the job or you've never actually done the work, that because you've read all of this in textbooks that you would know more than me. I mean, yeah, on a technical level, like, you know, but we all know you could, let's just say you go to IKEA, right? And you get a dresser or you get a desk and it comes with instructions. But we've all seen this before. You can read the instructions from front to back, but that's not necessarily how it always goes. Like, you'll still have an extra piece in there, and you're like, well, I know this goes here, but it doesn't fit. You know what I'm saying? Or you could have an extra bolt, and you'll be sitting there scratching your head trying to figure out, well, where do I put this bolt? Because it says it goes here, but it's already this, or this is missing that. Listen, people have to realize that they don't know everything, and just because this is the clear-cut picture or instructions as to how to do it, that's not always the case. Sometimes, in my experience beats knowledge or book smarts. You know what I'm saying? You could be educated on street culture or gang culture or mafia culture through movies, and you go out there and try to do something that they did on the movies, and you get splattered everywhere, destroyed totally. So yeah, I don't feel that, you know, you are the authority or you have ultimate authority, because sometimes authority comes with experience, from my experience. But yeah, man, that's 2. Let me see. And for 3, I'll probably say something along the lines of, because some people are so smart that they're dumb, they overthink things, they overcalculate. Like, I heard, what's his name? Stephen Furtick. He was doing a sermon, and he said, if I knew back then what I know now, I would never have made it as a pastor. I never would have continued my journey and did what I was supposed to do and build the church up, because I would have knew too much. The thing with knowledge or intelligence is that what it does is it gives you a type of paralysis, like mentally. I forgot the name. I think it's called analysis paralysis. You'll analyze so much stuff in your head, or you'll overthink scenarios and not realize that they're the extremes of actual scenarios. Like, it may never actually get this bad, and you'll think like, oh man, if I do this, this is what's going to happen. And what you fail to realize is all theories. You know what I'm saying? It's all theories. It's not things that you've actually put into practice. And that's what I'm saying. That's why I was saying earlier that experience sometimes beats out book smarts, because someone who's book smart, or, you know, they just know how to somewhat navigate through things very easily, they won't actually do anything. They'll keep trying to come up with formulas or recalculate the way that they should be doing something instead of actually doing the work. Because here's the thing, right? My bad, I had turned the AC off, so it started to get hot in the phone, overheated. But like I was saying, here's the thing. Smart people will start something and it gets boring very fast for them, because it's hard for them to stay focused on one thing, because they pick things up so fast. But the average person, I'm not going to say they don't think about as much, but what I will get an average person is they're more likely to focus on one thing and still have a love or interest for it, even though they're making mistakes, and they'll keep going. A smart person will make very little mistakes, but fail to realize that at the moment they might be failing because it might not be that time, or it might not be that season, and they'll give up and say that, hey, I've tried this and it doesn't work. Whereas, like I said, the average person is more than likely to just keep going until they figure it out. They won't get bored with it as fast and move on to the next category or the next subject or something like that. But I don't think it's bad to be an average person. I feel like when you're the average person, you don't complicate things as much. You're more than likely to try something before you judge it and say, hey, this doesn't work, or you're less likely to listen to somebody because they know more than you. I feel like that's just another plight of the really smart people. They only listen to people who they deem smart or just as smart as them. But like I said, some of the most profound things that I've heard in life came from not necessarily geniuses or these so-called brilliant minds or these rich people. Some of the best stuff that I heard, or some of the most insightful things I've heard, came from everyday Joes or average Joes or everyday Dre's, whatever you want to call them. But yeah, man, I feel like some really smart people or intelligent people or gifted people, I feel like they weren't really guided. You know what I'm saying? They were always told as kids that they were smart, that they had these gifts, that, hey, you got a high IQ, or you know more than this kid. But I don't feel that they were taught how to actually channel these things. They were just praised and got everybody to clap for them just at how smart they were, and that's literally where the growth stopped. But I don't know. I don't feel like I was ever really categorized as one of the smart people or the very intelligent people. I feel like I'm very average. So again, that's hence why I even had a perception that I have. I feel like you could get some of the smartest of the smartest, and at more than a few things, I'll just probably work harder than them, And I think that's what it is. Like I said, with smart people, they get bored. Some of them don't necessarily work hard. They think everything is working smart. Sometimes in some situations, man, you just got to put your head down and do the work. Everything doesn't allow you to be smart about it. Some things you just got to do it to figure it out. Everything won't always be lined up on paper. I mean, because even with this generation, man, if we looked at everything that people told us to do from way back when, or these people that we look up to that we consider smart from another generation, yeah, it made sense back then, but that don't necessarily apply to right now, where you are right now. Some things you just got to go through it. Not everything is something that you could get out of a book, or something that you could just be told by a professor. Some things you just got to get up and do. Most people who have trades, they weren't even taught by other people. You know how many smart people or intelligent people it is working at McDonald's and have 4-year degrees and all of this, and they breeze through college? Do you know how many people had scholarships and all of these things to go to these different schools based on their IQ and their intelligence, and they on drugs, or they just out here messed up somewhere? Like I said, man, most smart people, they weren't really guided. They were just clapped for and told that they were smart, but they never had any instruction on what to do with it. So yeah, I feel like most people who are smart, they're successful only in certain things, but I definitely feel like it's a ceiling. And I only say that because I've heard the saying so many times where they say something like, oh, I started my business and I didn't have to go to Harvard or MIT or anything like that, but the people who work for me do. Y'all ever notice that the majority of really, really intelligent people or smart people are employees, not always entrepreneurs? I don't feel like the majority of entrepreneurs are, the Elon Musk or the Jeff Bezos. I feel like they're everyday people like me and you. Somebody who is just going to work and they had a simple idea. They just figured out how to make $1 a day. And they use something so simple to figure it out. Not just $1 a day, but all right, after a week, can I make $2 a day? And then after that week, can I make $3 a day? Something very simple. But like I said, you know, most intelligent people, they'll sit there and say, well, that's not a profit. But the average person will be okay with that. And over time, they'll build up like compound interest, you know, or value in whatever it is that they're doing. One day they might just wake up and now they selling something, what, not just $50 a day, but they selling that one thing for $50 a day, and they're doing it 10 times in one day. Like, I feel like the average person is more than likely to get their reps in on something than somebody who's smart. I just feel like, you know, no knock on smart people or nothing like that. I mean, we all aspire to be smart. But I feel like it's more of the average person who's going to think outside of the box, you know. I feel like it's easy to get trapped in that bubble when all you've been doing was hearing how smart you are. After a while, man, you'll just start to do stuff just to hear that, just to get that dopamine hit and get that feeling. Whereas the average person, they're just gonna work hard. They don't even want to hear they smart. They just want some money. But hey, what do I know? I'm just the average Joe, everyday Dre. But yeah, I just came on here to get that off. Not sure when I'll be dropping the next video. But regardless, till next time, everyday Dre out.